Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another tape in my subliminal series. The world isn't fair. It's not designed to give everyone an equal shot. There is no balance. There is only domination. Either you conquer or you are conquered. Either you take control or you are controlled. That's how life works. Weak people preach balance because they fear the effort it takes to dominate. They tell you to take it easy, to slow down, to enjoy the moment. You know who enjoys the moment? The losers watching from the sidelines while the strong take everything. Balance is a myth created to keep you average. The top 1% didn't get there by being balanced. They outworked, outsmarted, and outperformed everyone else. They didn't waste time crying about fairness. They imposed their will. So stop looking for comfort. Stop expecting things to be handed to you. Get up, grind, and take what's yours. Win at all costs. The world belongs to those who are willing to dominate, physically, financially, and mentally. Be the predator, not the prey. Because in this world, balance is a lie, and domination is the only truth. Balance is a myth. It is an illusion sold to people who want to feel good about doing the bare minimum. The idea that you can have everything in perfect harmony, work, success, health, relationships, leisure, is nothing more than a comfortable lie. The real world does not reward balance. It rewards intensity, drive, and domination. The ones who succeed are not the ones who carefully divide their time between different aspects of life, ensuring everything is even. They are the ones who obsess, who sacrifice, who pour everything into their goals without hesitation. People love to believe in balance because it makes them feel like they are doing the right thing. They tell themselves they are being responsible by splitting their time and energy equally among everything. But this mentality keeps them average. A person who spends just enough time working to pay the bills, just enough time in the gym to stay somewhat fit, and just enough time learning to not feel ignorant will always be stuck in mediocrity. They will never be great because greatness does not come from moderation. It comes from going all in, from pushing beyond what most people consider reasonable, from refusing to accept limits. No one at the top of any field got there by striving for balance. The world's best athletes train like maniacs, dedicating every waking moment to their craft. Billionaires do not clock out at 5 p.m. to enjoy a balanced evening of relaxation. They outwork, outthink, and outmaneuver everyone else because they are obsessed with winning. The people who dominate in any industry, any sport, any field are the ones who refuse to settle for average. They know that to be the best, you have to sacrifice. That means giving up comfort, sleep, distractions, and anything else that stands in the way of mastery. The idea of balance is used to keep people weak. Society pushes it because it keeps individuals from realizing their full potential. If people were told the truth, that real success requires obsession, that domination requires sacrifice, many would quit before they even started. It is easier to sell the dream that you can have it all while putting in minimal effort. That's why you hear people say you need to take breaks or don't push too hard. Those are the words of people who will never achieve anything significant. They want you to slow down so they feel better about their own lack of discipline. The reality is that life does not reward balance. It rewards dominance. Those who go all in, who ignore the noise, who dedicate themselves entirely to their mission, are the ones who rise to the top. The world is built on power, not fairness. The strong take, the weak watch. The disciplined lead, the lazy follow. The relentless win, the hesitant lose. There is no middle ground. There is no fair split. You are either among the elite or you are one of the many who settle for average. People who preach balance often do so because they fear what it takes to reach the top. They look at the effort, the sacrifice, the pressure, and they convince themselves that it's better to have a normal life. But deep down, they know they are lying to themselves. They see the ones who rise above, who achieve what they never will, and they make excuses. They have no life, they say. They work too much. But that's exactly why they win. The difference between the successful and the average is not intelligence, luck, or natural talent. It's the willingness to go beyond what others consider acceptable. It's the refusal to be distracted by the idea of balance when there is a mission to accomplish. Comfort is the enemy of greatness, and balance is just another word for comfort. People who believe in balance crave safety. They want to feel like they are doing enough, while avoiding the struggle required for true success. They want success without suffering, reward without risk, progress without pain. But that is not how the world works. Those who rise above are the ones who push past their limits. They are the ones who wake up before everyone else, who work while others sleep, who train when others rest. They are the ones who see balance for what it really is, a distraction from true dominance. It's important to understand that balance is not something nature recognizes. In the wild, there is no equality, no fair share, no perfect division of resources. The strong survive, the weak perish. The lion does not hunt in moderation. It does not chase a gazelle for 5 minutes and then stop, thinking, I need to balance my energy. It runs, it fights, it dominates, because that is the only way to survive. The same rule applies to life. If you do not push harder than everyone else, you will fall behind. If you do not claim what is yours, someone else will take it. The world does not care about your excuses. It does not care if you are tired, if you need a break, if you think you deserve rest. It only recognizes results. It only rewards those who do what others are unwilling to do. While others are searching for balance, the elite are making moves, taking over, building empires. Every moment wasted trying to balance things is a moment that could be used to dominate. The ones who understand this are the ones who rise. The ones who hesitate are the ones who stay behind. You either dominate or you get dominated. There is no in between. The world doesn't give participation trophies, and it doesn't reward those who sit on the sidelines waiting for things to happen. It rewards those who take action, those who impose their will, those who refuse to be controlled. You are either the one making the rules or the one following them. You're either winning or losing. The second you stop fighting for control, someone else will take it from you. Power is never given, it is taken. The idea that you can simply coast through life doing the bare minimum and still expect respect, success, or freedom is a lie. People who believe they can have everything handed to them without effort are the same ones who complain about how unfair life is. They don't understand that fairness is an illusion. The strong take what they want, the weak sit back and accept whatever is left. Every aspect of life is a competition. Whether it's money, business, relationships, or personal growth, the ones who push the hardest, who demand the most, who refuse to settle, are the ones who come out on top. Society teaches people to be passive, to accept their circumstances, to obey without question. It tells them to compromise, to settle, to believe that they are powerless against the system. This is how the powerful maintain control. They convince the weak that they shouldn't fight back, that they should just accept whatever they are given. But this is a lie. The truth is, the only way to get ahead is to take what's yours, to demand more, to refuse to bow down. The people who run the world are not the ones who waited for permission. They took action, they dominated. People who refuse to dominate their own lives will always be controlled by someone else. Look around. The ones who complain about their jobs, their finances, their relationships, they are the same ones who never took control. They let other people dictate their worth. They let their bosses decide their income. They let their partners set the terms of their relationships. They let society tell them what is acceptable. They never step up. They never take risks. They never seize the opportunities that are right in front of them. Then they wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they aren't winning. It's because they never had the courage to take control. No one is going to hand you power. No one is going to give you the life you want. If you want freedom, you must earn it. If you want success, you must claim it. The ones who dominate don't ask for permission. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They make their own opportunities. They create their own paths. They impose their will on the world and refuse to accept anything less than what they deserve. This is the mindset that separates winners from losers. This is the difference between the ones who rise to the top and the ones who spend their lives watching from the bottom. Most people don't dominate because they are afraid. They fear failure. They fear judgment. They fear stepping outside the comfort zone they have built for themselves. But comfort is a trap. It keeps you weak. It keeps you compliant. The moment you choose comfort over control, you have already lost. The world will walk all over you. It will take everything from you and leave you with nothing. That's what happens to those who refuse to fight for their place. That's what happens to those who choose passivity over aggression. In every area of life, the ones who dominate are the ones who succeed. In business, the top players don't wait for market conditions to favor them. They create their own opportunities. They outwork their competition. They force their way to the top. In relationships, the ones who dominate set the terms, control the dynamics, and attract the best partners. In personal development, the ones who dominate push themselves beyond their limits, never accepting mediocrity, never allowing themselves to fall into complacency. This mindset applies to everything. The second you hesitate, the second you show weakness, someone else will take what could have been yours. The truth is, domination is not just about external success. It's about mastering yourself. It is about controlling your own mind, your own emotions, your own habits. Most people are slaves to their impulses. They are controlled by laziness, by distraction, by fear. They let their emotions dictate their actions. They let instant gratification destroy their discipline. They let their weaknesses define them. Those who dominate are different. They do not let emotions control them. They do not let weakness dictate their decisions. They train their minds to be strong. They force themselves to do what needs to be done no matter how they feel. They understand that real power starts from within. Every time you make a decision, you are choosing to either dominate or be dominated. When you wake up in the morning and hit snooze, you are allowing weakness to dominate you. When you skip the gym because you don't feel like going, you are being dominated by laziness. When you let someone disrespect you without standing up for yourself, you are allowing them to have power over you. Every moment of every day, you are either in control or being controlled. There is no middle ground. There is no neutrality. There is no balance. Weak people preach balance because they fear the effort it takes to dominate. They look at those who push themselves beyond limits, who sacrifice, who commit fully, and they tell themselves that it's unnecessary. They say things like, you need to slow down, or you should enjoy life. What they really mean is, please don't make me feel bad for being lazy. The truth is, they can't handle the pressure, the discipline, the relentless pursuit of greatness. Instead of admitting their weakness, they disguise it as wisdom, pushing the lie that balance is the key to success. Balance is an excuse. It is a justification for mediocrity, a way for the weak to feel good about their lack of effort. They tell themselves that working too hard is unhealthy, that training too much is obsessive, that wanting too much success is greedy. These are the lies they create to protect themselves from the reality that they simply don't have what it takes. Instead of pushing harder, they convince themselves that those who do are the ones who are wrong. They mock the ones who refuse to slow down, who stay hungry, who wake up every day ready to conquer. The people who preach balance are the same ones who never achieve anything significant. They go through life playing it safe, making sure they never push too hard, never take too many risks, never step outside their comfort zone. They live in constant fear of failure, so they convince themselves that the real goal is to be well-rounded. They don't realize that greatness does not come from spreading yourself thin. It comes from obsession, from dedication, from choosing to prioritize winning over everything else. Weak people love to criticize those who refuse to accept mediocrity. They will call them extreme, unhealthy, workaholics, obsessive. What they really mean is, you make me feel inadequate. The moment someone goes all in and refuses to accept limitations, they expose everyone else's excuse. The ones who lack discipline, who lack drive, who lack the hunger to succeed, feel uncomfortable when they see someone who does. So instead of pushing themselves harder, they try to pull others down. They try to make them feel guilty for wanting more, for refusing to settle, for choosing to be different. Balance is nothing more than a way for the weak to justify their failures. It is a way to accept less, to settle, to stop striving for more. The people who preach balance never reach the top. They never become the best. They never dominate. They stay in the middle, in the crowd, in the sea of average people who never took control of their own lives. They tell themselves that being balanced is better, that it's healthier, that it's the right way to live. But deep down, they know they are lying to themselves. They see the ones who push harder, who sacrifice more, who refuse to slow down, and they feel envy. The ones who dominate don't care about balance. They don't care about fitting in, about being accepted, about making others comfortable. They care about winning. They care about building their legacy, about pushing their limits, about proving to themselves that they are capable of more. They don't waste time listening to the weak. They don't let the words of the average affect them. They know that balance is not the key to success. Obsession is. Every successful person understands this. The greatest athletes, the top business leaders, the most powerful people in the world didn't get there by living a balanced life. They got there by being relentless. They worked while others rested. They trained while others took breaks. They sacrificed when others made excuses. That's why they dominate, while the weak sit on the sidelines preaching balance as a way to justify their inaction. Weak people hate pressure. They hate discomfort. They hate anything that forces them to face the truth about themselves. So they hide behind the idea of balance, pretending that they have found the real secret to life. But the truth is, they are just afraid. Afraid of failing, afraid of working harder than they ever have, afraid of admitting that they are not strong enough to do what it takes. Instead of pushing themselves, they try to bring others down. And instead of stepping up, they step back and make excuses. There is nothing admirable about balance. It is a shield for the lazy, a crutch for the weak, a comforting lie for those who don't have the discipline to push beyond what is comfortable. The people who reach the top, who build empires, who create legacies, are not concerned with balance. They are concerned with greatness. They understand that to win, you must be willing to do what others won't. You must be willing to sacrifice, to endure, to go further than anyone else is willing to go. The weak will always try to convince you that balance is the answer because they can't handle the idea that someone else is willing to do what they are not. They don't want to see someone succeed because it reminds them of their own failures. They want everyone to be comfortable, to stay in the same place, to accept mediocrity as the norm. But the ones who dominate, who rise to the top, who take what they want, understand that balance is a lie. They know that the only way to win is to go all in, to push beyond what is expected, to refuse to accept anything less than total success. The top 1% didn't get there by being balanced. They didn't live their lives carefully dividing time between work and play, success and rest, ambition and leisure. They sacrificed, they obsessed, they went all in. The difference between winners and losers is simple. Winners do what others won't. They push harder, they work longer, they take risks that others are too scared to take. The world does not reward those who seek balance. It rewards those who commit fully, who immerse themselves in their goals, who refuse to accept mediocrity in any form. People love to believe in the fantasy that you can have it all without giving anything up. They want success without struggle, riches without sacrifice, power without risk. But the truth is, you cannot reach the top without paying the price. The top 1% understand this better than anyone. They don't waste time trying to maintain balance. They focus. They lock in, they dedicate themselves so completely that there is no room for anything else. That is why they dominate while others stay stuck. That is why they rise while others watch from below, making excuses about why they aren't winning. Most people don't realize how much effort it truly takes to become elite. They see the success, the wealth, the influence, but they don't see the years of relentless work behind it. They don't see the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, the moments when giving up seemed easier. They only see the rewards, and they assume those rewards came from talent, luck, or privilege. But those at the top know the truth. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It wasn't balance. It was pure, relentless drive. It was the willingness to put in more work than anyone else, to outlast, outthink, and outperform the competition. People who live balanced lives never make it to the top. They divide their energy, their time, their focus, and they wonder why they never achieve anything extraordinary. They tell themselves that success is about moderation, that working too hard is unhealthy, that sacrificing too much is unnecessary. They make themselves feel better by believing that the ones who rise to the top are extreme, that they are obsessed, that they have no life. But that's exactly why they win. While the average person is worrying about balance, the elite are putting in work. While the average person is taking a break, the elite are moving forward. Sacrifice is the price of greatness. The top 1% understand this, and they embrace it. They know that in order to dominate, they have to give up comfort. They have to make choices that most people aren't willing to make. They wake up earlier, they work longer, they push themselves beyond their limits. They don't waste time seeking distractions, looking for balance, or worrying about whether they are doing too much. They focus on one thing, winning, and because of that, they get what others never will. The biggest difference between those who succeed and those who fail is the ability to endure pain. The average person quits when it gets hard. They look for excuses, for reasons to slow down, for validation that they don't need to push any further. But the elite push through. They embrace discomfort. They thrive under pressure. They understand that pain is part of the process. They don't look for an easy path. They look for the path that leads to total dominance, no matter how difficult it is. Most people will never reach the top because they are too concerned with being comfortable. They don't want to sacrifice their free time. They don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. to get ahead. They don't want to miss out on social events, cut off distractions, or commit themselves fully. They want success, but they don't want to do what it takes to achieve it. They live in denial, convincing themselves that a balanced life will somehow bring them the same results as those who dedicate every waking moment to their goals. The ones who win do not waste time looking for shortcuts. They do not waste energy worrying about whether they are working too much. They do not slow down for anyone. They move at a pace that others cannot keep up with, and that is exactly why they succeed. They don't look at failure as a setback. They look at it as part of the process. They don't let obstacles stop them. They find a way through them. They don't allow distractions to pull them away from their mission, because they know that every moment spent on something irrelevant is a moment stolen from their future success. People talk about work-life balance as if it's the key to happiness, but the truth is, most people aren't even happy with their so-called balanced lives. They claim they don't want to work too hard, yet they complain about their mediocre paychecks. They say they don't want to be obsessed, yet they admire those who achieve greatness. They pretend that they are content with being average, yet they secretly wish they had more. The difference between them and the top 1% is that the elite don't lie to themselves. They admit they want more, and they do whatever it takes to get it. The ones who dominate understand that life is a competition. Every second wasted is a second given to someone else who is willing to outwork you. Every excuse made is an opportunity lost. Every moment spent chasing balance is a moment that could have been spent chasing success. That is why the top 1% live differently. That is why they operate on a different level. That is why they win. Comfort is the biggest enemy of success. The moment you seek comfort, you are choosing to slow down, to weaken, to allow yourself to slip into mediocrity. The world does not reward those who live comfortably. It rewards those who embrace discomfort, those who push past their limits, those who refuse to be satisfied with good enough. The ones who dominate life are the ones who reject comfort in every form, who understand that comfort is nothing more than a trap designed to keep them weak. Most people live their lives chasing comfort. They want an easy job, a steady paycheck, a life without struggle. They avoid hard work. They avoid pressure. They avoid anything that forces them to challenge themselves. They tell themselves they are happy, that they don't need more, that they don't need to push harder, but deep down, they know they are lying. They know they could be more, do more, have more, yet they choose not to because it requires sacrifice. They trade their potential for temporary pleasure. They trade their ambition for the illusion of peace. And when they look back on their lives, they realize too late that they never truly lived, never truly pushed themselves to their full capacity. The ones who win, the ones who dominate, understand that success is not found in comfort. It is found in suffering, in struggle, in hardship. They seek out challenges instead of running from them. They push themselves into situations where failure is a possibility because they know that pressure creates strength. They don't care about taking the easy route because they know the easy route leads to nothing. They choose the difficult path, the one filled with obstacles, the one that forces them to evolve. That is why they succeed where others fail. That is why they rise while others remain stuck. Comfort kills ambition. The moment you allow yourself to settle, to relax, to feel satisfied, you stop growing. You stop striving for more. You stop improving. The world moves fast, and if you are not constantly pushing forward, you are falling behind. Weak people convince themselves that they deserve a break, that they have worked hard enough, that they should slow down. But the second they do, someone else is out there working, grinding, taking everything they could have had. There is always someone hungrier, always someone willing to do more, always someone who refuses to stop. The ones who dominate understand this, and they never let themselves slip. The modern world is designed to keep people weak. It gives them endless distractions, easy entertainment, instant gratification. It conditions them to seek pleasure over purpose, comfort over challenge, relaxation over achievement. Most people don't even realize they are being controlled. They think they are making their own choices, but in reality, they are being programmed to stay weak. They are being trained to accept less, to settle for mediocrity, to never push beyond what is expected of them. They live their entire lives inside a cage they built for themselves, never once questioning if there is more. The ones who rise above this conditioning are the ones who refuse to be comfortable. They wake up earlier, they work longer, they train harder, they take risks. They willingly put themselves through suffering because they know that suffering is what builds strength. They understand that if something is easy, it's probably not worth doing. They don't look for shortcuts, they don't wait for luck, they don't rely on anyone else to give them what they want. They take it, they earn it, they put in the work that others won't, and that is why they succeed while everyone else fails. Most people fear discomfort, they fear failure, rejection, pain, but the ones who dominate embrace these things. They know that failure is a lesson, that rejection is fuel, that pain is temporary, but the rewards of enduring it last forever. They do not avoid hardship. They seek it out. They push their bodies, their minds, their limits. They train themselves to handle more than the average person ever could. And because of this, they become unstoppable. They become the ones who control, who dictate, who lead. Comfort is an illusion. It makes people feel safe, but it actually makes them weak. It makes them believe they are in control, when in reality, they are trapped. The ones who dominate understand that real control comes from discipline, from resilience, from the ability to endure what others cannot. They do not let themselves fall into the comfort trap because they know that the second they do, they are giving up their power. They keep moving, keep pushing, keep striving for more because they know that the only way to stay on top is to refuse to slow down. The people who preach balance, who tell others to take it easy, to enjoy life, to not work so hard, are the same people who never achieve anything. They are the ones who watch from the sidelines, who make excuses, who tell themselves that the ones who win are just lucky. They try to convince others that success should be effortless, that happiness is found in relaxation, that ambition is dangerous. But deep down, they know the truth. They know they are making excuses for their own failure. They know they are avoiding the work required to win. The difference between those who dominate and those who don't is simple. The weak seek comfort, while the strong seek growth. The weak avoid challenges, while the strong embrace them. The weak live their lives trying to make things easier, while the strong purposely make things harder. That is why the weak will always be controlled and the strong will always be in control. That is why the ones who reject comfort will always be the ones who rise to the top, while the ones who chase it will always remain at the bottom. The world belongs to those who take it. It does not belong to those who wait, those who hesitate, those who ask for permission. It belongs to the ones who seize opportunities, who create their own path, who refuse to accept anything less than complete dominance. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right moment, waiting for someone to tell them it's their time, waiting for things to be perfect before they make a move. But the ones who win understand that there is no perfect moment, no permission slip, no guarantee of success. There is only action, only forward movement, only the willingness to take risks when others hesitate. Weak people believe that life will reward them simply for existing. They believe that if they play by the rules, if they are patient, if they do what they are told, they will eventually get what they want. But the reality is the world does not care about fairness. It does not care about balance. It does not reward the ones who wait their turn. It rewards the ones who take what they want without apology. The ones who hesitate get left behind. The ones who overthink, who doubt, who second guess themselves end up watching from the sidelines while the bold move forward. Most people never take control of their lives because they are afraid. Afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of stepping out of line. They have been conditioned to believe that aggression is bad, that ambition is dangerous, that wanting more makes them selfish. They have been told to be patient, to be humble, to wait for their opportunity. But the truth is, waiting is the fastest way to lose. Every second wasted is a second given to someone else who is willing to act. Every opportunity missed is an advantage handed over to someone stronger, hungrier, more willing to do what it takes. The ones who dominate understand that taking action is the only way to win. They do not waste time waiting for approval. They do not hesitate when they see an opportunity. They move, they act, they take risks. And because of this, they gain power while others remain powerless. They do not fear making mistakes because they know that mistakes are part of the process. They do not fear rejection because they know that rejection is nothing more than proof that they are pushing limits. They do not seek approval because they understand that approval is irrelevant to those who are truly in control. Hesitation is the death of success. The moment you hesitate, someone else moves. The moment you wait, someone else takes action. The ones who dominate never hesitate because they trust themselves. They trust their instincts, their judgment, their ability to figure things out. They do not need every answer before they start. They do not need a perfect plan. They know that action brings clarity, that movement brings results, that hesitation only leads to regret. They would rather make a mistake at full speed than sit still and watch someone else take what could have been theirs. Most people fear taking what they want because they have been told that doing so is wrong. They have been raised to believe that they must ask, that they must be given permission, that they must earn their place in line. But the ones who dominate do not ask. They do not wait. They do not play by the rules set by weak men. They walk into any situation with the mindset that it is already theirs. They move with certainty, with confidence, with the absolute belief that they are the ones who decide what happens next. The people who struggle in life are the ones who are constantly looking for signs, for reassurance, for someone to tell them it is okay to act. They spend years waiting for things to feel right, waiting for everything to align, waiting for permission that will never come. And by the time they finally decide to move, it is too late. Someone else has already claimed what they wanted. Someone else has already built the empire they dreamed of, taken the position they were hoping for, lived the life they were too afraid to chase. Taking what you want is not about arrogance. It is about certainty. It is about knowing that no one is coming to save you, that no one is going to hand you success, that no one is going to give you permission to be great. It is about understanding that the only way to win is to stop waiting and start acting. The ones who dominate do not apologize for their ambition. They do not shrink themselves to make others comfortable. They do not hold back out of fear of being judged. They take, they conquer, they impose their will on the world. Most people never reach their full potential because they are too worried about what others think. They are too scared to be aggressive, to be relentless, to be unapologetic about their goals. They play small, they hold back, they limit themselves because they have been told that playing big is selfish, that wanting too much is greedy, that pushing too hard is unnecessary. But the ones who dominate know that these are just lies told by the weak to keep others weak. They know that playing small serves no one. They know that true success requires total commitment, total confidence, total domination. In conclusion, the difference between those who win and those who lose is simple. The weak wait while the strong take action. The weak ask for permission while the strong move without hesitation. The weak hope for success while the strong demand it. That is why the ones who dominate will always control the world, while the ones who hesitate will always be controlled.